Remember to hit the record button again. So we're back. I'm uh I'm super excited for today because yeah, we're back after like a year of not doing this, and Sean called me out of the blue. Was like, "Hey, we're doing this thing. Can we come on the podcast?" I was like, "Well, maybe that's my cue to get back into it."
Yeah, man.
So here we go. So glad to have you back, man.
I'm glad to be back. Was I your last?
I think you were my last, and you're my first again. So it's
Well, that's
it's
special.
yeah, it's been a bit of an adventure in between. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah, man. That on that adventure, that was I didn't realize that
yeah.
what had happened. So,
Well, and what you probably haven't heard either is a couple weeks ago I was back in the hospital because I had really bad heart palpitations, and for some reason like this stuff always happens on Friday, and cardiologists don't like to work on the weekend.
mm,
So every time this happens, like I end up spending 3 days in the hospital that I don't need to spend, and that's super frustrating. Um, So yeah, so I had to wait until Monday to get another angiogram, and for some reason they took me off Plavix over the weekend, and they were like, "Well, we can't stint your heart without you being on Plavix, so we have to go back in on Tuesday." So I had one angio through my leg, which didn't feel good, and then the next day I was like, "Can we please go through the arm, like, because you have to keep your leg still for like 4 hours after you do it through the leg."
really?
So I was like, "Ah." So I think we're finally in the clear. Like I think we're
Praise God.
and uh, and if you're not following on social media and you don't know, like last December I had a heart attack, and then about a month ago I had on April 1st I had triple bypass surgery, and then what happened this last time that took me back to the hospital was one of my grafts was actually closing up. So, um, which isn't unheard of, but it's not very common. So they just went back and stinted the original
Mm,
artery, and now I feel pretty good. I mean, I still get a few misfires here and there, but I'm hoping
really?
with cardiac rehab.
What does
And
that feel like?
well, when I went back to the hospital, it felt terrible. That's why I went. So I had a combination of like the closing, um, the well, I guess it's a vein now because it's a bypass, but having that thing close up, and then having these, they call them PVCs, or like kind of like I just call them misfires of the heart. Um, so the two of those together was just like, dude, this is not right and not feeling good.
Yeah.
So I went to the hospital, and so now when I have them, because the artery is opened up again, like I can feel them, but they're just uncomfortable. They're not really, you know.
Mm.
And if it's just one, then it's like, it's not a big deal. But sometimes it'll last for like a minute, kind of having these misfires, and I'm like, okay.
Does it just
But
feel like you have shortness of breath or
no,
something's
it just
punching
feels
in?
like I don't know if you've ever, like most people describe it as your heart skipping a beat, like
Okay,
you'd
yeah,
feel
yeah.
just that kind of little,
It's just happening.
yeah. But it just, sometimes it'll happen just once and I'm good, and sometimes it'll be, 15, 20 seconds of like misfires, and then kind of goes away. So I asked every which way I could when I was leaving the hospital. I was like, I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay. And the cardiologist assured me, we fixed everything. You may still have these PVCs, but as long as it's less than 10% of the time, then we're not even worried about it. And when I was thinking about it, I was like, well, 10% of the time is like 2.4 hours a day. Like, I
It's
certainly hope it's less than that.
Yeah, that's still, that's a,
Yeah.
it's a considerable amount of time,
Yeah.
especially for that kind of event.
Yeah. Yeah. It was scary because
Yeah.
you just had heart surgery and now you're back in the hospital. It's like all the worst case scenarios are going through your mind. You're like, oh, are they going to have to open me up? Is my heart bad? Is there, am I going to have a transplant? Am I,
Right.
this,
All
that,
all this all the stuff.
everything just goes through your head. And I really tried to just live in faith of like, I have been through so much in the last couple months. Like, if God brought me through all of that just to kill me now, like, I just don't think He would do that. Like, from what I know about God and what I'm hoping I know about God,
Right.
like,
Right.
it may be a little bit miserable, but at least
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull through it. So,
Yeah. He's
um,
sovereign. He has his plan. We don't. I really wish he would. Especially for events like this, just like, hey God,
yeah,
can you give me a heads up? Just what do you
yep,
plan? What I don't need to know. A few years. Just like, what's gonna happen next?
yeah,
Like, is this it? So I can kind of.
yeah.
He just
So I
doesn't
can
do
kind of
that.
plan my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It would be nice to. I mean, I suppose
Or is
that's
it
where.
something I don't need to worry about? And
Yeah,
I just need to
exactly.
calm down.
And that's I think that's part of it too. Is
Oh
it's
yeah.
faith building. It's
Oh,
like
absolutely.
no, you don't have to worry about this. I don't know why you're worried about it because I'm not. I'm like, yeah, well, I'm the one having these heart palpitations.
Your
It's
ways
like,
are not my ways.
right? Yeah.
I don't get it.
I don't understand.
Do you
Just
have a history of stuff like this in your family?
yeah,
Okay.
and that's like really. I think if there's one thing that I'm super angry about in this whole, and I'm like being angry doesn't help me. Never did, but it certainly doesn't help me now. So I try not to be. I try to just kind of whatever, let things go. But I was seeing a doctor that I really liked because he kind of let me try things and wasn't like he knew I didn't really want to be on pills all the time.
Yep.
So he let me try different things and stuff like that. And I told him right from the beginning, and every time I saw him, I was like, is my heart okay? Like I told him about my dad's pacemaker, my grandpa's heart attack, and eventually my uncle had a heart attack too. I'm like, he knew my history, and every single time he'd be like, "No, your heart sounds good. Your heart's good. Your heart's good." And then, bam, I wind up in the hospital with a heart attack and a triple bypass. I'm like, come on, man. Like you should have sent me for
You
something
didn't see
with
this
my
coming, Doc?
yeah. I mean, with my family history, even if it sounds good, like send me in for some test, like
Right.
do something.
Yeah.
So he's fired. Um, so yeah, which is a bummer because I mean, very nice guy and I really liked him, but like
Yeah.
at this point, you lost your chance. Like I can't take that risk anymore. So
That's a whole nother podcast is talking about the medical industry,
yeah,
doctors, Western medicine.
and it will be. I've been doing a lot of posts on social media about it, like really trying to. It's funny because I get a whole lot more um, engagement from people that I know and stuff, and I love it. Like I really want to hear from everybody, and it's really been a huge blessing. Like, I mean, the amount of times I've cried just reading the comments on my posts
Mm.
and stuff like that. But what I'm really trying to do is reach people that are going through this, and like, here's my experience. Here's what you need. Here's you're gonna be okay. Like right now, you feel like you're never gonna get through this, but you will. Here's what to look for with doctors and stuff like that, and really be an advocate for yourself, um, stuff like that. So I'm really hoping that it reaches an audience of,
Yeah.
of people that are going through it and is
It's
a
an
blessing
important
to them.
topic.
Yeah,
It's kind of I mean, it's always been a good topic of discussion. But I think especially after COVID,
yep,
things like that, man, a lot of people were pretty shaken
yep.
on their views of, you know, just the medical industry. You know,
Well, and that's the downside of not having gone through it. Like COVID, I think I had it once, maybe twice, but I just got over it. So the last few years, whenever somebody's like, "Oh, our medical system sucks," and I'm like, okay, like doesn't for me. But having gone through this, I'm like, yeah, you're right, it sucks.
right?
It's
Yeah,
awful.
yeah,
It's absolutely. I mean, just the fact that there's nobody in this hospital that can give me an angiogram on Saturday. Like I've got to spend 3 days in a
wild.
hospital because like it was just crazy.
And turns out it's pretty convenient for them too, for
Yeah.
you to stay, have to stay. You
Yeah,
have to
I
stay.
mean, look
So
how
it's
much
like
money they're making.
exactly.
I mean, I think my first bill was over $100,000 when I had the heart attack. I mean, it was. I don't have to pay that. Like it
Right.
got negotiated and the insurance kicked in and stuff like that. But just seeing like that number, I was like, you guys are out of your minds. Like you're not even feeding me that much. I'm not eating that much. You're feeding me garbage food. They call it the heart healthy food, and it's oh my gosh, dude, it's stuff I would never eat at home.
Really?
It's just insane, dude. It's like I could not believe the stuff they were handing to me, and then they're trying to tell me how to eat at home and everything. I'm like, I got it. Like,
I've been to your cafeteria.
yeah, right,
I
yeah,
I can do this.
oh,
Yeah.
so I'm glad to be through that, but
Yeah, put that behind you and
yeah.
just, you know, I guess diet and exercise.
That's basically it. I mean, there's I mean, the good thing is it's kind of a minor adjustment to my diet because I
Okay.
was already, trying to eat healthy
Yeah, okay.
and do that kind of stuff, and we've gone back and forth about it and really done Lena's done a lot of research. I mean, she listens to podcasts all day long. Um, and the conclusion we've kind of come to is that it's not so much my diet, it was the stress. It was,
Mm,
like as one doctor put it that she was listening to, like, okay, you've got cholesterol in your system, but what's causing it to harden in your arteries and create that closing? And
right.
he said stress is a lot of that.
That's
Like when
wild.
yeah. So that's why I'm still not perfect at it because sanctification, but
Yeah,
I
there's that.
yeah, I mean, and that's a tough part, but um, I'm really trying now to like. I mean, even things that I don't need to own, like I've found myself like getting upset about something that was even one of my kids' problem, and I'm like, that's her problem. I don't need to own that anymore.
Right.
It's like
Yeah.
if she asks for my help, I'll help her, but I don't need to be mad about it. It really just,
Yeah.
I don't know. You just do your best to really not let things bother you, which is can be difficult, but
For sure. I mean, it kind of like you said like you said sanctification, it kind of just boils down to like how much do we believe that God's in control?
yeah,
That's tough. It's like, we could say it and then a situation happens and then you're like,
yep.
maybe not as much as I thought.
It's super easy up here,
Oh yeah.
but down here, it's like, maybe I don't believe that as much as I thought I did.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's really hard, man. And you know, God allows us to have these opportunities to, exercise our faith and to grow us and stuff like that. And I could totally, I know that heart disease and stuff runs in my family too. And it's like,
Yeah,
oh man. And joining, it's funny because it's like, you join the ministry, you're gonna serve the Lord,
yep,
and then why am I so stressed?
yep,
It's like the Lord's saying same thing. It's like, hey, how much do you believe that I have this in control? How
yeah.
sovereign am I in your
Right.
head and in your heart?
Gosh, that's so hard.
Uh,
Such
you're
a
right, Lord.
process.
It is, yeah. But He's good. He stretches us. He walks alongside of us and never giving us too much, that we can't
Yeah.
handle, with His help. So it's cool, man. I'm glad we're here again.
Yeah, me too. I'm glad I'm still here.
Yeah.
It's been it's one of the hardest things if not the hardest thing I've ever gone through, but it's also brought to light a lot of um trying to think of like one word to describe it, but there isn't. It's like you really realize the people that come out of the woodwork that really care about you and that, kind of um like I was at the biggest example is the kids theater group. The first time that I showed up there, like all these kids are just like coming up to me. We've been praying for you. We've been praying, and these are kids, like, and the adults did too. Like, but you
Right.
kind of expect that from the adults, but the amount of kids that gave me hugs and said we've been praying for you and stuff like that, you're just like, dude, that is like so amazing. I mean, it just really reiterates
Wow.
how glad I am that they're a part of this group.
Wow.
So.
I love that. Yeah, it's so encouraging. Like the community believers that are around you and the people that
Hmm.
God set around you. I mean, we can't do this alone. We know we need God,
Yeah.
but He also knows we need other people.
Yeah.
You know, So
Absolutely.
that's a beautiful thing, man.
Absolutely.
Glad to hear that.
So what's new with you since we last talked?
Yeah. Well, there's been a lot of growth. Um, Good things happening in the ministry. So, and I can't remember. I was on. What was I on?
Last year
Late last
sometime.
year,
It's yeah. It's
October
been.
maybe or something. Yeah.
Was it
Maybe
October?
I
Yeah,
don't
it
know.
feels like it's been longer, but maybe
Maybe
not.
it's been
Yeah.
longer. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah. So my role with the ministry is the regional director. I oversee Southern California for the ministry I'm in called Love Life. And I mean, you talk about, you know, being grown and stretched and tested and stuff like that. Um, it's definitely not, you know, like kind of like a brush with death, like you.
Yeah.
Um, but it definitely is something that has been like, oh wow, you know, it's been a huge learning curve for me because I moved from, working at an oil refinery and
Yeah.
then doing ministry. It's like this like
Yep.
zero relation.
Two different worlds.
Yeah, two different worlds, you know. So it's been really good, but God has been he's been multiplying in the ministry. We last year nationally we celebrated over 6,000 babies saved that we knew of
Nice.
since 2016. It's pretty young ministry.
Yeah.
So
Very cool.
since 2016 we saw over 6,000 babies saved, 1,000 professions of faith.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty big milestone there. Um,
And I think I want to highlight too that when you say babies saved, it's not just babies saved, like they're families saved, you know, like
yeah,
they're,
you're right.
you know, it's not like they're babies that are saved and then dumped into the foster care. You know, that probably happens sometimes,
Yeah,
but
no,
it's
well,
actually
not
you
if we're
guys focus on keeping the families
yeah,
together and
yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's something that I mean when we share statistics about abortion or life, choosing life.
mhm.
I mean, kind of like what you're just talking about, man. Like you have this brush with death, and you found out how how much your life, just you, impacted all these other people,
Yeah.
and they showed you that
Yeah.
by giving them, showing their love and prayers and stuff like that. It's a pretty profound thing to think about. It's like, wow, really,
Yeah.
all you guys been praying for me. So you go to the life of a child, life of anybody.
Mhm.
Like, how much impact do we have?
Yeah.
You know, and the Lord, He's knitting all these lives together in the womb and bring them into the world, and He's got plan and purpose for all of them and all the people that they're going to impact
Yeah.
and all the people that are going to be a part of their life, and they're going to be, and this baby's going to be, grow up and be a part of others' lives.
Yeah.
And so when a child is saved, you're talking about an entire family, like you said, being saved,
Mhm.
in a way. I mean, we think about the kids that we have, and we can remember the times when we didn't have our kids, but it's like, oh, I'll never go back to that.
Yeah.
And even thinking about when you have like one or two kids and you and your wife are talking, like, what do we think about having a third or having a second or wherever you're at? That time it's just all theory, but when that child's there, you
Yeah.
have them, you're like, I can never imagine not having three kids or two kids or for us, four kids,
Yeah.
you know? And so, yeah, 6,000 lives saved, 6,000 families and all of their influence impacted
Yeah.
because of it. And then people coming to Christ, people rededicating their life to Christ. These families that choose life, they're not only choosing physical life for their child, but in many cases they are being introduced to life with Christ. They're being
Yeah.
reconciled to eternal life. So they're getting plugged into local churches. So yeah, that statistic, if you have time for it, right? Like
Mhm.
like in this, peeling that apart and analyzing what it actually means, it's so
Yeah.
much more profound. Really, you can't quantify even one life, let
Right.
alone the 6,000 that we've seen or that we know of. And there's times, man, when you know we're ministering, reaching, evangelizing in front of an abortion center, and there'll be somebody that pulls up in a car and they got a little 10-year-old girl in the back seat, grandma's driving.
Mhm.
They pull over, roll down their window. We walk over there and, hi, can we help you with anything? Hey, I just want to let you know, 10 years ago, people were outside of this abortion center.
Mhm.
And because of those people, I have a granddaughter.
Yeah.
And in a lot of our cities, I mean, our ministry's not even 10 years old,
Yeah.
but
That's
we get to
rad.
see what the faithfulness of other Christians have done. There's just so many testimonies we don't even know about, and other things that other people have done. it's pretty amazing to be a part of and to think about that. So yeah, ministry has been great everywhere where, we have, kind of our model that we bring into every church that we go to. I'm telling you, man, that anywhere a church uses this model, we're seeing life is breathed into it.
Yeah.
And it's not because it's like, oh, love life, 5 steps to.
Mm-hmm.
No, man, we're applying biblical principles and things that God has already told us to do, and we're just applying them to the issue, this abortion and orphan crisis.
Yeah.
That's all we're doing.
What are some examples of that?
Yeah, so we often say that this is a ministry of prayer. And we have one of the models that we get an entire church congregation involved is we ask a church to adopt a week,
Mm-hmm.
right? So pastor will speak a message on life on the first day of the week on Sunday, and we'll have a Love Life rep there. And then we call the whole church to say, hey, man, this is our adoption week. 52 weeks out of the year, this week, this is what we are all focused on. When we're at church, when we go home, we are praying and interceding for the lives of families in our community. We're praying that abortion workers would quit. We're praying that people that have had an abortion, that they would be able to come forward and get healed, get a part of a post-abortion Bible study. So we call them all at the beginning of the week on that church's adoption week, and we say, hey, we're calling you to prayer and fasting. And we cite Mark 9:29, where Jesus tells his disciples regarding a demon, like, hey, these kind only come out through prayer and fasting.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just calling the church, this is something that the church has been doing since it got started, praying and fasting. Hey, let's pray and fast over the abortion and orphan crisis. Do we believe that the church is the most powerful entity on the planet? It is, because of the power of the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
And what's one of the greatest weapons we have? It's our prayer.
Yep.
So why don't we just aim the greatest weapon and one of the best tools that we have at the worst issue of our day? And it's not protesting, it's not activism, it's prayer. It's the church being the church, We're the light of Christ, right?
Yep.
So we're taking the light to the darkness, and the darkness must flee.
Yeah.
And with that prayer, like, we're not just out there in front of the abortion center just only, praying, but we're offering tangible help.
Yeah.
We're letting these moms and dads know, like, listen, you do have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Here is your other choice.
Yeah.
And it's my belief, and I think I'm right, I think because it's biblical, is that the church, they need to be the answer. We are the answer.
Right.
We should be the hands and feet of Jesus, right?
Yep.
We're not just the eyes of Jesus or the mouth of Jesus. We're the hands and feet of Jesus. 1 John 3:16 through 18 is such a good verse for just any Christian just getting involved, right? But in verse 18, it essentially says, like, we're not to love with words or kind speech or anything like that, but it's in action and in truth. We're supposed to love with action.
Yeah.
So I can't think of a more group of people, and I'm talking about the people in the womb, because those are little humans too, right? Can't think of a people group in more need of action and love than them.
Yeah.
Especially the ones that they're on their way to the abortion center. They have no one advocating for them.
Yeah.
That's the church's role. So, these are kind of the principles that we're bringing into a church, to answer your question in long form.
Yeah.
Wherever we see a church using this, and really, I think the reason the church has been silent on this, I mean, some pastors will talk about it. We both go to churches where our pastors talk about it.
Yeah.
Right? And both churches we go to, they do stuff as well. But a lot of churches that I've come across, they talk about it, and they know some stuff. They just don't know what to do. Like that key action point, right?
Right.
So that's Love Life specialty. It's like, we're a pro-life ministry, but really our ministry is discipling and encouraging and helping the church to act, because it's the church that has the power,
Yeah.
not Love Life,
Right.
right? God didn't give his spirit to Love Life.
Yeah.
It's the church. Obviously, the church
Well,
is
Love Life
working through
kind of is
Love
a
Life,
church.
right? Yeah, yeah. But we're talking about, the full body of Christ
Yeah.
doing what it should be doing, and we're not saying like, hey, Love Life's the answer. We're saying, hey, you guys, we are the answer. When we go out and we use these methods that God gave us thousands of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out it's very effective.
Well, because it's more done in love. That's what I appreciate about you guys, is that it's not, you have people that go outside abortion clinics and protest and
Right.
tell people they're going to hell and, all
Right.
that kind of stuff. And that's not going to win anybody over. Like, that's what I like about your approach, is you actually care about people, and you actually, yeah, you have that different approach of approaching it in love, instead of like you're a sinner and you're going to hell, you need to turn or burn kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's a place in every culture for some sort of activism.
Mm-hmm.
And, if you have especially, I mean, we have freedom of speech.
Yeah.
If you have a cause that you're passionate about and you want to get the word out and tell people, you have every right to do that.
Right.
But doing activism in front of an abortion center is, that's not the time and place to do that.
Yeah.
We're talking about an urgent need
Right.
where someone is literally, a human being is scheduled to die.
Mm-hmm.
Now's not the time to talk about what your beliefs are.
Yeah.
That's kind of like, replacing all of our, let's say that there's a hospital with really good doctors.
Mm-hmm.
And we take those really good doctors and we replace it with people like, a bunch of, motivational speakers or health coaches. And it's like, man, my arm is gone.
Yeah.
I am
Yep.
bleeding out. And you want to tell me all this stuff. I don't need that. I need someone to help me. I need to go to triage. Like, I need people
Yeah.
that know what to do. Like, there's a direct need at an abortion center. And it's not to hear what your beliefs are on life. It's, hey, like, we have help for you, and we
Right.
know how to help you. And we're not unpacking the role of the church when we're in front of there. Like, our plea is like, hey, listen, we know that God has a plan and purpose for your life, and if you're here today and you're pregnant, we want to let you know you have other options.
Yeah.
And good group of people out here that want to help you. And it's there's a passage, I think it's Romans 2:4, if I'm not mistaken, and essentially Paul is kind of admonishing the church, and he's saying, did you forget that it's the goodness of God that draws a man to repentance?
Yeah.
It's like, that's what it is, man. Like, me telling you you're a murderer and that you're this and you're that, sure, okay, yeah, it's true. Like, I show up at the hospital, I cut my leg off because I'm not good with the chainsaw, and I knew it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't need a guy telling me, see, I told you,
Right.
It's like, no, I need
Someone to sew your leg back
I
on.
need someone to sew my leg back on, man. And then we'll talk about, my poor practices with the chainsaw
Right.
after. So that's what we're doing is, like, hey, there's an immediate need, and we have what you need.
Yeah.
We have the hope you're looking for. Every abortion center has two things. The mom that's pregnant and she's going in, she is in need of hope. She's desperate. She's hurting and broken.
Mm-hmm.
Without hope, she's hopeless. And there's an innocent life that's scheduled to die.
Yeah.
And that's the church. The church is the answer for both.
Yeah. I don't know if you have an actual statistic, but if you were to just like take a wild guess on how many people that are going into that abortion clinic are going in there not because they want to do it, but because they just feel like they have no other option.
Yeah.
Because I know some people do. There are some people, and this is what gets a lot of Christians up in arms, is some people use it as birth control.
For sure.
And I don't think they're the type of people that are like just out of hope. They're just like, well, I just need to get rid of this thing.
Right.
Um, but how many do you think are like there just because like they need what you have? They're desperate. They don't see any other option.
Yeah. Um, Maybe I could answer it this way. We have asked moms, um, even moms that went through with the abortion and stuff, and there's a lot of surveys and questionnaires that do this, and I think I have the number right, but it's really high. That how many of them would have chose life if they knew they had the help and support that they needed, and that number is like I think right around the 70%.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, lots of them, most of them are in a desperate situation. Many of them are being coerced, forced. There's a lot of women that have chosen life. Man, I was more than half that I know of
Yeah,
in our area that have chosen life, and we find out later that they're they're up against the ropes.
yeah,
They're going to get kicked out of their living situation. Maybe they're living with their boyfriend, maybe they're living at home, and they're told, "Not here, not if you're pregnant. Find
gosh,
another
that's
place."
even more insane.
It's insane. And again, I don't say that, like, hey, all these people are horrible or anything. It's just like these are the facts.
Yeah,
And but sometimes family members make really bad calls
yeah,
and they make really dumb decisions, think that they're helping, oh, you don't need this baby now. You have this career or this or whatever, and they think they're giving them good advice.
yeah,
But that's why you need a Christian in there to speak the truth in love. So actually, this is
yeah,
gonna be one of the worst decisions you can make in your life, and you will never forget it.
yeah,
You know, and we want to let you know, like, it might be scary, but we want to walk alongside you.
yeah,
And then we introduce them to Jesus, right? Get them plugged into a church. Um, Many of these moms that make the decision for life, it's not all perfect right after. It's scary, but man, I just got news today of about one mom that chose life 2 years ago, coming on, yeah, more than 2 years ago, uh, for her babies. She not only she can't imagine her life without her kids,
yeah,
and the people that were in her life telling her to get an abortion are just over the moon happy to have
mm,
their grandbabies or their niece or their nephew, whatever, and they can't imagine life without their kids.
yeah,
And now this person's living a life that is a life of fulfillment. Just got married, you
yeah,
know, walking with Jesus, and it's like kind of what we were talking about earlier, man. Sometimes we really wish we could see around the corner.
yeah,
We can't,
absolutely.
and you got this terrifying thing in front of you. Like, if I could just see around the corner, right?
Yeah,
In a lot of cases, that's what a Christian is. It's like, hey, man, in your scenario specifically, I can't tell you exactly what's going to happen, but I know someone that does know what's
yeah,
going to happen, and I know someone that knows the way. Can I come and help show it?
yeah,
It's pretty. When you boil it down to that, get it to most simple form, you have, I have, something that they need.
yeah,
So I am going to the place where I know I'm going to find them, and I'm showing them, like,
yeah,
here, this is what you need. And I'm doing it not as a jerk.
yeah,
I'm not being a
right,
jerk
yeah,
when I'm sharing that with them. I'm not
yeah,
reminding them about how they got here.
right,
I'm just saying, hey, listen, like, the most immediate issue is this, and I'm here to help.
yeah,
And I want to let you know, like, I don't know you, but there's someone that I know, and because I know him, I love you, and he
yeah.
loves you, you know? Not being angry and whatever. It's the goodness of God that draws people to repentance.
And again, what I love about it is some people stop at the spiritual. Like I know Jesus, I know God, and He's gonna help you. So don't do this, but on your way. But you guys are doing the spiritual and the physical.
Yep.
You're not just like saying, "Well, Jesus loves you and send him on your way," but you're and Bible talks about this. You're actually taking the physical step of we want to walk through this with you, you know, not just like hand you a tract and say goodbye, but you know, like,
Yeah. I did my good deed.
yeah,
Walk away.
yeah,
Isn't that so tempting for us as Christians to do, man? That's the easiest way. Like I handed out my tract. I served the Lord today.
yeah.
You
I don't
know.
know. As an empath, it's not. I can understand how it would be, but for me, that's harder for me to like just send someone on their way. Like I want to. I often get myself in trouble sometimes where I'm like,
Yeah.
I want to help everybody. You know, it's like that's part of my stress is like wanting to
There's so
have
much good
such
to
a
do.
big impact on the world, and I'm like, okay, maybe I can't save the whole world. You know, like,
Maybe just what's in front of you,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah, man, you're right. And the reason I say that is, I mean, that's a lot of our excuses for a lot of time is like, hey, man, this is really hard,
yeah,
and the easy route is this as a Christian. But you're right, man. That this is Christianity 101. Christianity is not just saying, hey, be well, and here's Jesus, and I hope you make the right decision.
yeah.
Like that wasn't what Jesus' ministry was at all.
Right.
I mean, in everything God has ever done, he is always setting the example, even through creation, taking your day of rest, you know. I mean, everything that Jesus did while he was here on earth was showing us how
Yeah.
to live, right?
Yep.
He showed us. He didn't tell us. He showed us. And he didn't send some angel or something. He sent, you know, it was God in human skin, you know.
Yep.
It's the Son of God. So his example was he walked with people, he taught, he gave examples, you know, parables that, you know, examples that people could understand of their day, and he fed people,
Yeah.
right? And he taught them what they needed to be able to be successful in their life, and you know, all these things, you know. And that's what I would say is like, hey man, we're gonna give the gospel and we're gonna feed people,
Yeah.
you know.
Physical
I
and
like,
spiritual.
yeah, yeah. I think that's what he wants us to do.
Yeah.
I know that's what he wants us to do. So really, my mission, Love Life's mission, is to just get the church to see it's like, hey, you can be a Christian and go out there and call it pro-life, whatever we call it, whatever you want. What really just bring your Christianity where it is absolutely so needed, because it's devoid of Christianity. There's a lot of mission. I mean, we have more people serving in Africa
Yeah.
and going than we do have people in front of an abortion center.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, I think America needs more missionaries right now than
right?
Africa does. I think God's moving pretty well in Africa.
I know.
It's
It's like we just need to be obedient to what he's already told us to do, and that's
Yeah.
why again we see the successes that we do, because we're just doing what he told us to do, and we're doing it in this lane, you know.
yeah.
Yeah. So, the
Would you
ministries-
say that you guys have a very low percentage of, or if any, you know, babies that get saved but end up in the foster care system, or
there's none that I know of?
none that you
honestly.
know of out of the
Mhm.
6,000 that have?
Yeah. I don't know all 6,000 because again,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
national.
Obviously.
But as far as Southern California is concerned, I don't know of any. As if they are asking us for help, I don't see why that child would end up in the foster care system. There's no reason for that. That's why I've never seen it. It's because if we are in a situation where she, you know, the mom needs to, you know, have put her child up for adoption, we have all of those resources where we are pairing that child with a Christian family,
Yeah.
one that maybe can't have kids, or maybe they're in a calling where God's called them to adopt children, and you know that's so. Yeah, no, I don't. Not
That's awesome.
yeah, not one scenario.
Well, and the reason I
comes to
ask is
mind.
because in my head, not with you guys, but a lot of the times, like my small pushback, I guess, is how many, in general, as the church, like how many, and this is more for the activists probably, but how many babies are we saving that just end up in the foster care system and their
Right.
life sucks, and you know, like we don't talk about those kids. You know, there's
Right.
for every kid that's like, well, they saved me from an abortion, and I, became president of the United States. Like we're not listening to the kids that are like, they saved me from an abortion, and my life is awful. Um, and that. So I just want to bring that
Oh,
back
I like this.
again. Is
Yeah.
like your approach doesn't end up that way because of the way you're approaching it and the way that you're going about it. Like it's like you say, you can't think of a single one that's ended up in the
No, because
foster care system.
it's
Yeah.
intentionally thorough. We know that
Right.
life it doesn't end at once the baby's born. It's like, all right, cool, good luck.
Yeah.
Just like we didn't leave them there at the abortion center, we're not going to leave them there in any scenario.
Yeah. I love
And
that.
that's why our ministry is to change the culture regarding the abortion and the orphan crisis. Is we want to raise up more families that can adopt, take
Yeah.
these kids out of the foster care system. Like we want change regarding that as well.
Yeah.
We don't want that. Like it's not a good and really that's and we're getting into other things, but it's like I don't think the government should be doing any of that.
Yeah.
Really, the church is
No,
the
I agree.
answer for that
Yeah.
as well. Like we,
No, yeah, we've subcontracted a lot of what we should be doing to the government.
as a church, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 'cause if the church is doing that in the way that we should be doing it, like we don't have these issues. I mean, we live in a fallen world. There's always gonna be things that we are gonna have to combat. I'm not saying we're gonna like live in this perfect world until he comes again, but way better, way better.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. Is one or two of your kids adopted?
No,
Yours are all yours. I couldn't remember if you'd adopted any. How much do you know about the? Because and this is a little off topic, but I feel like I never get like the total information on the foster care system and how difficult it is to like. Some people say it's really difficult to adopt a kid in the United
Yeah.
States because it's really expensive, and they try to keep the kids with their parents. So if the mother comes back and is like, "I've been clean for 2 weeks," and it's like,
Yeah.
well, maybe we don't do that and allow them to have a family that will take care of them for life,
Take
kind
care
of
of 'em
thing.
for
But
life,
I
yeah.
don't know the whole system, so I don't know how difficult.
Well,
that
that's
is,
if
or,
yeah, with foster care system, that's.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of like a caricature situation that you said, but yeah, that could definitely be a case that happens. Is you're fostering this child, and mom gets cleaned up, and comes back. Their main goal is to reconcile the families,
Yeah.
and I think that's good.
Yeah.
It needs to be very uh, thorough, detailed, and
Yeah.
with wisdom, right? Not just like, oh, yeah, clean for 2 weeks. All right, cool.
Yeah.
You know, I've never heard a situation like that, but man, I hope that doesn't happen. But it'd be terrible.
I really, and to be honest, I'm completely ignorant on it. I really have
Yeah.
no idea. I've heard that it's really difficult, and a small part of me. No, I shouldn't say that. Like, what I one of the things I think about is just how many people go to Africa, go to China, go to all these foreign places to adopt children, and I'm like, got 500,000 of them here. Like that's well and good and very noble, but like, let's get some of these kids into
Yeah.
loving homes.
Because because one thing we do know is that if they're in the foster care system and they age out, they're gonna have a really, really, really hard life.
Yeah.
Statistically speaking, like the chances of them going to jail is super high. Getting involved in crime, getting involved in just anything bad in society,
Yeah.
because they had no good role model. They had no stability.
Right.
I mean, that's what kids need.
Yeah.
They need a father. They need a mother. They need stability. They need to be shown right and wrong, right? So if they don't, they live a life of instability. Yeah, it is a really rough life. And then you brought up a great point about, and a lot of people like to, cite this as a reason to just, have a merciful abortion,
Mm-hmm.
right? Hey, man, this is a terrible situation. The mom's addicted to drugs. She's homeless. Or the dad, lay on everything. Conceived in rape and addicted to drugs. Blah blah, all the things. Well, my answer to that would be two things. first, going back to the medical thing that we are talking about,
Mm-hmm.
very real, and regarding all of our fears, is we cannot see around the corner, can we, as people?
Right. Yeah.
So who are you to dictate how this child's life is going to be? It's like, well, wishful thinking, Sean.
Yeah.
Statistically speaking, you just said they're going to end up this and this and that way. It's like, okay, so what do you say to that? All right, well, I would have to say, like, who is assigning value to that person's life would be
Right.
the main thing, right? Is it you? Is it me? Is it who actually assigns value, right? So that's a whole debate there,
Yeah.
but we'll skip over that. We'll end up where the answer is God assigns the value to
Right.
that person. So it's not up to us to dictate who lives or dies. We are not gods. He is.
Right.
He dictates that. He decides. So, you got to remember, like, even if they're going to end up in the foster care system, man, that's a human life.
Yeah.
And that human life is so valuable that God put on skin and came and he died for that human life.
Yep.
So that human life could live eternally with him. That's how valuable that human is. Christ assigned value with his blood on the cross. That's the value. So then the answer is, what are we left with? Well, again, you still have not answered the question of, statistically speaking, this kid is going to end up in jail, possibly raping someone else,
Mm-hmm.
getting, on drugs and starting the whole thing all over again, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that's where we get into, like, where is the church?
Yep.
The church is the answer.
Yeah.
And the reason that we have this just continuing, this cycle that just keeps recycling itself is because the church hasn't stepped in.
Yeah.
Like you said it, man. What did you say? We gave it all over to the government?
Yep.
Right? I think that's the issue. And it's the issue isn't that there's sin. The issue isn't that, I mean, yeah, there is, but it's not the darkness.
Well, the issue is, of course, there is.
Well, the
Like,
issue
you
is
know,
not
yeah,
that there's the
it's like-
darkness. It's
Yeah.
where is the light?
Yeah.
If you stub your toe in a dark room, turn on the light, man.
Yeah.
Like, you're tired of stubbing your toe, turn
Yeah.
on the light.
100%.
So you're Christian, you're tired of hearing this. You're tired of your non-believing friend or your pro-choice friend always saying this or doing that. What are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing with what's in front of you?
Right.
Right? So, I mean, really, the answer is actually much more simple
Yeah.
than we make it. We want to make it difficult so then we don't have to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just so the audience is clear on my stance, like, I don't say that to make it more difficult. I say that to kind of take that away. Like, let's start adopting some of these kids. Let's
No,
start
yeah, and that's how I
getting,
received it,
it's
definitely.
like,
Yeah.
I just want to make that whole idea clear, because your love life actually gives me hope. Like, where I had a lot of cynicism before of, like, well, okay, we're saving these babies and they're going to foster care, or, this just isn't
Right.
working. Or like, you guys actually give me hope that there is a light at the end of the tunnel for this issue, and I really appreciate that about you guys, that,
Yeah.
your approach and and so, like, the foster care system for me is like the next evolution of what you guys are already doing, whether it's you or whether it's someone else, is to get Christians, get the church behind getting these kids adopted, getting these kids in, or at the very least getting them in good foster care homes, stopping like, we need some sort of the government shouldn't be doing anything, but if they are, then we need legislation that says you can't be a foster parent just for the money, or we can't be moving these kids to different foster homes every 5 weeks. It's got to be like, let's get them into a good, loving home and find a path for adoption to them, find a path to make this as easy as possible for someone that loves this kid to raise them and help them become good contributing members of society. You
Yeah.
know?
Amen.
So
Another thing that, you know, 'cause I was like that as well, where I'm like, where do we begin, kind of thing. What are we even
that's
supposed to do? And
exactly
it's just
it.
gonna end, like it's gonna end up bad anyway, kind of
Yeah.
thing. Really, essentially, that's just an excuse for me to not do anything, or at least attach my heart to it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Allow my heart to break over that issue. I'm just gonna guard it with my mind,
Yeah.
you know. But with oh, what was your point again? I'm sorry, I got sidetracked when I said that.
Which
Just
point?
just regarding getting involved. I'm sorry,
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about something else, and then I jumped too far ahead of myself. Um, One thing that I learned with Love Life is that there's already so many people doing so many things that they've been called specifically to be in that ministry
Yeah.
of foster care. There's Christians that I know that are a part of the answer regarding
Mm-hmm.
foster care currently.
Yeah.
There's people doing stuff. We just don't know about it.
Right.
There's people doing things, Christians, tons of them, in the adoption circle,
Mm-hmm.
making good changes. There's Christians that are a part of these medical clinics that are providing, true health care for these women, instead of Planned Parenthood. Christians
Yeah.
that are operating that have been doing that for years. There's all sorts of resources out there. That is not really the issue. Is that all, that we need these things. These things already exist. All of these answers already exist. You know what the issue really is like normal whatever Christians that aren't necessarily called to do that full time, we're not involved.
Yeah.
There's not enough hands and feet that even know about it and are doing all of these other tasks, like going and praying and interceding in front of an abortion center, or hosting a post-abortion study, or talking about it or just talking about it more. Like we're by and large, the church is just uninvolved.
Yeah.
There are already these outlier Christians that are already doing this stuff. They already have ministries in place. There's just the laborers, man. We need
Yeah.
laborers because the harvest is plentiful. And I've been praying to the Lord of the harvest, but it's really tough, man. It's tough to get us to step, and that's why I was being critical earlier about like excuses,
Mm-hmm.
because man, and I'm not pointing the finger at anybody.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah.
I had plenty of excuses. I had plenty of head knowledge
Mm-hmm.
on why the orphan crisis is terrible, but I had plenty of excuses for why I didn't get involved,
Yeah.
and I stayed on the sidelines. And I'm not unique to that. I think that's most of us that like, wow, I'm too busy, or I got this, or I got that. So we need laborers, man, across the board.
So the next question is, this may seem obvious, but for me it's not, because you're saying that there's people doing all these different things. Like, I know about you guys because I know you and you've been to my church and stuff like that, but I don't know a lot of these other organizations that, listening to you talk, it sounds like a lot of the things that I had problems with before, like, are being solved. I just don't know about it. So
Right.
is that just a matter of getting people to churches to tell people that are people being too quiet about what they're doing? Are they just not getting the right kind of attention? Are they like, why don't I know more about this, I guess?
Great question. I think it's a two-pronged answer. The first, why don't you know about it? It's probably because your pastor's not talking enough about it. Why doesn't he know about it? Probably because why isn't he talking about it? Probably because he doesn't know about it,
Yeah.
right? And then that kind of goes into, is like, what kind of seminary did he go to? Did the seminary even teach him about how to raise up a congregation to be actively pro-life? I have not heard of one. We're not
Yeah,
even teaching our
interesting.
pastors how to deal with this. I'm just a red letter pastor, or I'm just a gospel pastor, or I'm just a right out of the word. Like, man, that's folly, man. It's not.
It's not accurate.
Yeah.
You need to be taught how to do these things. And I think there are a lot of people. There's people like Love Life. Our whole ministry is about getting the church involved. How do you do it?
Yeah.
And we will literally hold your hand through whatever scenario, whether you want to be a mentor, sidewalk outreach, prayer team person, post-abortion healing. I mean, we have so many different things that people can get involved in. You want to just give to the ministry, you can. And then there's pregnancy centers. There's post-abortion healing groups that, I mean, there's just so much. Maternity homes, oh my gosh. So again, the solution, it's kind of like the solution has always been there.
Yeah.
And yeah, we know how to do it, but there's not enough people
Yeah.
to do it. There's not enough people giving. It's kind of like you think of like in any kind of industrial country, like wherever the need is, like let's say, you know, for us, it was go back a couple hundred years, the need was transportation, man. We got this huge country,
Mm-hmm.
and man, we got to get from point A to point B. How do we do it?
Yeah.
And then you get enough people talking about it, you get enough donors going behind it, you're going to get some pretty good ideas
Yeah.
coming. And then you're going to get, you know, with that, people are talking about it. Well, I want that job. I have, you know, we have the funding, and we need more people to come. And before we know it, we got Ford Motor Company.
Yep.
Just even just a few years before that, the idea of like being able to get around on your own without getting onto a train or
Yep.
something like that, like it completely revolutionized everything. But I mean, the concept was there, carriages and things like that. Okay, where am I going with this? Like the concepts are there
Right.
for this. Like I said, the Bible gives us this. How much R&D are we putting into it?
Right.
How much money is the church putting into? How much are we talking about it? Is it even on our radar?
Yeah.
So that's why you have to start looking at like where is the heart of the church at regarding this issue, and we ignore it. And that's why, you know, people don't know things. By God's grace, there's stuff going on, but how much better could the pro-life landscape look if we had more people looking into it, getting
Yeah.
involved, you know, throwing some research and development dollars into it, so that people could actually leave their jobs and do this full time without having to, you know, live like a pauper. You know,
Yeah.
like, can you afford to pay my salary? Yeah, no, don't worry about that. You know, yeah, we want you to run at this 100%.
Yeah.
We got dollars behind you. You know, and that's how cultures shift. That's how you have an industrial revolution. You get enough people behind it, get these good ideas going. You got the dollars behind it, and look. All of a sudden, we just completely changed the landscape of a country,
Yeah.
of a nation. And that's what Love Life is seeking to do, man. We want to have this culture shift in the church where our hearts are broken and grieved over this because they're not enough. Not enough of us are grieved over this issue
Yeah.
to where we care enough about it to go do something. Like what you said, it's like the COVID thing happened, and you're like, yeah. Everyone's like, man, the medical industry
Yeah.
sucks.
Mhm.
And then you went through it,
Right.
and you're like, oh, actually, it does.
Yep.
And now you're an
100%.
advocate for it, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
And it's the same with us, man. Our hearts just aren't. Yeah, that is pretty terrible. Oof.
Yeah.
You know, but that's not a broken heart. A broken heart is like, it's terrible.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to? What can I do? You know, that's the beginning of a culture shift.
You know, as you're talking about that, like I've told you before, my kind of biggest heartstring has always been human trafficking and the sex trade and stuff like that, and it still is. But I kind of feel my heart quickening a little bit. I had more or less kind of given up on this podcast, at least for the time being. You know, after I think it was after the last time you were here, and it wasn't anything to do with you. It was just, it was just like
It was so terrible,
trying
Sean.
to. No, you were so awful.
It
You
was-
ruined the podcast.
You
No,
broke it.
It was just trying to get viewers, and I felt like I wasn't the person I needed to. You know, I would watch other people with podcasts, and the amount of social media they would do, and the types of things they would have to do on social media. I was just like, dude, I don't want to sell my soul in order to like
Right.
sell this podcast kind of thing. So I kind of just let it be for a while, and then I went through this whole heart issue, and part of the heart issue was I had to sell my business because I had no idea when I was going to be able to work again, and finding someone to work for you is just so difficult, especially in the pool industry. So we just decided we needed the money, and this kind of gave me a year to heal. You know, I made
Right.
enough money to take a year off. But as you're speaking, I kind of feel my heart quickening, in that I told you at the beginning, I had no real plans, like going through all this hard stuff. I had no real plans of starting this podcast again. Like I really wasn't even on my radar. It was like a pipe dream of, you know, years down the road when I finally figure it out. And then you called me, and I was like, huh, that's interesting. Like, I didn't do any effort. I didn't call anybody. I didn't like try to make this happen. It just kind of came out of the blue, and so I was like, well, I'm not going to say no to him. Let's have him on and let's give this a try. Maybe this is a sign from God that like this is actually what I want you doing. But still, even then, was like, okay, what am I going to do after Sean? Like, okay, great, I have this one guest, but what's going to happen after that? But, and this is all happening in real time, folks. Like, I feel my heart quickening that maybe this is, and I definitely want to have a physical contribution. I definitely want to get more involved with Love Life. I'm trying to get more involved with Destiny Rescue too, because I know they don't have any real representation in California, so I might do that. But also, maybe that's what this is supposed to be. Like, you're my first guest. You called me, and like I said, I wasn't going to say no, but I have no idea what comes after this. But maybe that's what it is. So I'll tell you and anybody in the audience, like, anytime you want to come on, absolutely. The answer is yes. Just pick a date. But also, if you have anybody that wants to tell their story that's
Sure.
been through Love Life, they're
Yeah.
more than welcome to come on. If you know anybody that's doing those other ministries that I'm saying that I don't really know about, that needs a platform to kind of get the word out, they're welcome to come on. If you're somebody that Sean doesn't know that has one of those ministries that's really doing something in this space, and we'll just lump them all: human trafficking, abortion, and the foster care system. It's an open platform at this point,
Yeah.
because like Sean's the only guest I have right now,
I
and
know a few people.
I'm willing to make some effort. But if you're seeing this and you want to get your word out there and you want to be a part of this, here's your invitation.
There you go.
Because I have, like, this is all God. I have no idea what this is supposed to be. I can't reiterate enough. I was like, oh, cool, Sean called. All right, well, let's have him on. But I have no idea what this is supposed to be. And as we're talking, I just kind of feel in my spirit that that's what it's supposed to be. Like,
Yeah.
this is an open invitation to anybody that wants to come on and share their ministry that they're doing in those three spaces. And
Like it.
let's make a difference. Like, let's
We need to get some people
get the
in
church
here
moving
with human
you know?
trafficking stuff.
Yeah.
I know a couple people.
Yeah, for sure. That'd be great.
Yeah.
So,
I think, and you talk about an area that really needs some R&D.
yeah.
That's a tough one, man.
That's been, one of my,
It's
like,
so
my
needed.
heart's goal in that was to, because I feel like there's a lot of people in that space kind of in their own corner of that space.
Yep.
And what I want to do over the next 10 years or so is, like, bring all that together and, like, okay, how do we take all of our gifts in all of our areas and bring it to the center of the room? And, like, what do you need? Money? Like, can I just be a money funnel? Like, I'll raise a bunch of money for you guys, and whoever needs it can have it. Like, how do we
Right.
how do we combine our gifts and our ministries and really like make an impact in this space?
Yeah.
Because we're fighting, like none of us can. We're fighting against forces that are not just spiritual but physical. You know, like they have so much power.
Yeah.
You know that it's really difficult to. Which is why I sometimes contemplate this, and I'm like, I'm not even sure that they're worried yet. The people that are doing the human trafficking, like I'm not even
Yeah.
sure that they're worried yet
Yeah,
because
do they even feel the heat?
because they lose the ones that get rescued, but there's more right
5
behind
other
them
ones
to
that they
come
can-
in. It's just like how do you fix that? So
Yeah. I think the abortion issue is not talked about enough.
yeah,
It really isn't. Human trafficking, not even.
yeah,
No one even knows where to begin.
yeah. It's really difficult,
Yeah.
but I think if we can all come together, I mean, same argument I have on the church itself. Like, if the church could just get together and stop having these squabbles over stupid stuff, like, imagine the impact we could have on the world. It's like, well, this verse says this. No, it says this. No,
Gosh.
okay, like, that's not a life changing.
Can you just go out in all the world teaching everybody the things that Christ taught and, baptizing people and
Yep.
making disciples? Can you do that?
Yeah.
Can we do the Great Commission?
Yeah, exactly. Can we just come alongside people and love them and really not?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
so-
reach out to people I know.
Yeah,
Um,
anybody that you know, and
There's some
again, if
great
you
work.
happen to come across this podcast and you
Yeah.
want to come on, just Cameron at dynamiclifetoday.com. That's, email me and we'll set it up.
Put it in the comments or however
Yeah, I'll
the
put it in
magic.
the comments also, and
Click here.
yeah,
Um,
and like, subscribe. I that's one of the things that was hard for me about doing this was like I hate the whole like hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, but it really is necessary
You
to
have
like
to.
get it out there.
Yeah.
It really is
So-
necessary. So
if you're watching this, you need to click the subscribe button, like the post, and turn on your notifications.
Yep.
Because you're gonna want to know when the next guest is coming on. You're definitely gonna want to listen to the next guest. So
absolutely.
I'll do it for you.
Thanks.
Just let that loop.
Yeah, for sure.
For everyone.
I'm just gonna blast that all over social media.
It's like raising money. Like
Yeah.
that's been a learning curve for me too. Because
Yeah.
asking people for money.
Yep.
For yourself, for me, that's really hard. Some people are like, "Oh, I'll do it."
Yeah.
So asking money for yourself or your ministry and there's
Yep.
a lot of different ministries I talk to. They all feel the same things. Like,
Yep.
oh man, that's really hard to do. But it is super easy to do it for somebody else.
Yeah.
It's like, hey man,
I mean, that's part of what's always slowed me down too. Is like I never wanted to be that guy. I wanted to be able to support myself so
right?
that
Yeah.
I could do the ministry.
Yeah.
And,
You don't want to come across as begging people
Yeah.
and all that stuff like that.
well, especially because there's so many different. I mean, within the church there's enough, but even parachurch or outside of the church organizations that need money. It's like, everybody's asking for money all the time, so it's like I just don't want to contribute to that. But on the other hand, I know most people would do it. Like they'd
Oh,
be
There's a-
willing to help out.
there's
so,
a lot of fodder out there when it comes to podcasts, but there's also a lot of good.
Yeah.
And I think this is a good podcast.
What's funny is that was actually kind of another inspiration for me. Kaylin was watching, I don't know, someone's YouTube or something, and I'm sitting there listening to it because I just happened to be in the room. I'm like, if there's an audience for this person, like, there's got to be an audience for what I have to
Man.
say. It's like, I was
The
just
stuff
so
that
annoyed. Like,
people-
why are you listening to this? This is so.
I have this conversation with my sons. Like, I think, I don't know if your son, streamers,
Mm-hmm.
worthless.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing for society?
No, it's funny. They do watch them, not as much, I don't think, but they
I'm
do
just
watch
looking
them, and
at
I'm
it.
just like, I don't
So,
get it.
I don't either, man, because you know what? Because I'm talking about, like, game streamers, people on Twitch
Mhm.
or YouTube
Yeah.
or whatever. And so I walk up and I'm looking at it, and I think my kids are playing, but I'm like, is this guy watching you? Like,
Yeah.
when I first saw it, I was like, what's happening? Wait, you're not playing? And then I'm like looking at them, I'm like, you're watching someone else play a
Mhm.
game that you play.
Yeah.
Is he like showing you cheat codes or something? You know, up, down, left,
Yeah.
right. It's like,
Oh, now
no,
you just aged both of us.
I don't even think I got it right. So you're just watching this guy just play. Yeah, but he's really good. Yeah, but you're watching him play a game that you could just play. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like a professional sport. Like, yeah, it is. I'm like, no, it's not.
Right.
I was like, you know what? What you guys are doing in your day and age was punishment for you and I.
Yeah.
If I got in trouble, I got put on restriction, I couldn't play, but I had to watch my brothers play.
Yep.
Like, I didn't have to watch, but I would. And I was
Yeah.
like, it was the worst. Or you're waiting your turn to play. It's a one-player game.
Yep.
It was the worst
Yep.
watching someone else play, even if they were better than you.
Yep.
It's like, man, I want to play. And now it's like there's this whole platform for
Yeah.
like people making tons of money
I
off
know,
of
it's
other
insane.
people watching them play Fortnite.
That's why I was only half kidding when I said, "Hey, let's hook up the Nintendo and you and I have our Gen X like stream."
Yeah, man. That would be great.
see how many viewers we can get doing
I'll
that.
come back on to play some
Sounds
Nintendo
good,
with you, man. Especially the games that you guys have. Like,
Yeah.
those are good.
Some good classics on there.
Yeah, man. I think Nintendo I was pretty decent at, but I got really good at like the Super Nintendo console.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I almost got man, if there's somebody that's watching and you have unlocked all of Super Mario Brothers, like, cause there's a percentage thing.
Mhm.
It's like when you pass the game, you've only like beat like 50% of the game or something.
Oh really?
Yeah. But then like, did you find all the hidden,
Yeah.
whatever and all that stuff? I got my console to 97%
Really?
complete. And I, for the life of me, could not find that other 3% as a
3%,
kid.
yeah.
I was like, and this is before the internet,
Yeah. Yep.
And it's like, man,
Did you ever read those like Nintendo magazines that?
no. Some of my friends did, or I would
Yeah.
read it at their house or whatever. One of my friends had a Game Genie. Did you ever
Okay.
see that?
Mhm.
The Game Genie, you put it, I think it was for NES, and
Mhm.
it's like this thing that goes over the cartridge that you put in, like you put it inside of it, and then you put that into, and it's supposed to unlock all the things,
Okay.
right? But it always messed up the system too.
Yeah.
And like it didn't work right after a while and stuff like that. So they're like, don't get the Game Genie.
Yeah.
It messes up your console. Yeah, we're definitely aging ourselves.
Yeah. Totally. But hey, it is what it is.
I'm proud of it.
Yeah, I'm good with it. I never understood people that are like, "Don't you want to color your gray hair?" And like, "Why are you saying your real age?" Gray hair is a sign of wisdom, man, and Bible says it.
I hope so.
Like, yeah, I hope
Sign
so
of
too.
wisdom
but-
and stress.
yeah, that too. Yeah, it's like,
People that I haven't seen in a while, like, because I'm getting it coming in on the sides a lot more, and they're like, oh, yeah, ministry's really,
Yeah.
really taking its toll on you. It's like,
yes,
kind
it
of.
is.
But it's also having teenage boys.
Yep.
That's been stressful at times.
Yeah.
Just kids,
It's been. How old's your oldest now?
He's graduating next
Okay.
week. Yeah, graduating high school.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's turning 18 this summer.
Yeah, it's been a whole lot easier for us since Colin was able to drive, and now Kaylin's getting, well, she's taking her test tomorrow and hopefully getting her license tomorrow.
Really?
So yeah.
Cool. How old's Kaylin again?
She's 16.
Okay.
She and
Good
Liam
for her.
turned 16 in March, so
Uh,
so then we'll have two kids driving, and that'll be a whole lot like.
Colin, do you have a car? You have your own car? Dang. Must be nice. That's cool. I had,
Yeah.
I remember when I got my first car. Yeah, that's a game changer, man.
Yeah.
Colin, would you ever go back to, I mean,
That
you've totally just ruined everything.
that microphone on the other side of the. Turn it on.
Oh, shit. Oh, yeah.
Now speak into it. Make sure it works. Unmute. I think number 3. Unmute everything on there. It's one of those. The red light on the bottom is the mute button.
Hello?
Oh,
There
yeah,
it is.
we go.
There it is.
Hey, Colin. No, I was just saying, like, can you imagine life now without driving? Like, not, yeah, yeah, it's totally different now. It's like,
Every day I'm going out and I got stuff to do.
Is
that's
there
awesome.
a mute button on there? There's sound still not coming through. Are they turned
Hello,
up? Keep going.
hello, hello, hello.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah.
So repeat what you were saying.
Wait, repeat the question.
No, I'm just saying, now that you have your license, can you imagine your life without it? Like,
No.
no way.
Even just without driving, like I use that to identify myself anywhere I go. It's always asked to be shown, even in school. Now that I'm homeschooled and I don't have a school ID. But as for transportation, like I use it to go to work. I go everywhere.
That's
even-
freedom, right?
Yeah, it is
That's
a
great.
lot of freedom.
That's cool.
I'm hungry and I could go out to get something.
Right.
And he's got his own money, so I don't have to
I
pay
didn't
for
really
it
like
anymore.
what Mom made. I'm gonna go to Del Taco.
Yeah.
That's what I used to do. Thanks, Mom.
Yeah.
Did you like it? Love you.
Well, now the problem is like, so Liam will grab a scooter and go up to Mr. Yu's Chinese
There
food
you
because he
go.
loves their orange chicken. So after the last few months, I'm just like, you guys, like, enjoy this for the next few months, but you really need to change the way you eat because you don't want to end up where I was. You know, it's like,
Gotta buckle down.
so.
You live around the corner from me, by the way.
Oh, do I?
Took me 3
I
minutes.
think we
to
talked
get
about
here.
that before,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I forget where. What street are you on?
So I'm off of Main
Okay.
and Burr.
Okay.
And yeah, I was put it in the GPS because I put a reminder. I was like, oh, I know he's in Corona, but I'll give myself 30 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
I said 3 minutes. I was like, oh, I got some time.
Yep.
Could walk here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, it's funny. You're the second person that I've noticed that. So there's a guy that I used to work with when I was at the aerospace company. I knew he lived fairly close, but like he's like 2-minute walk up the street. Like
Oh wow.
he's right around the corner from us. I was like, I saw him one day when I was walking after my heart attack. I was like, oh, that's where you live. What do you know?
What have you been up to, man?
Yeah. So.
We're neighbors. That's
Yep.
funny.
Let's show this video. We've got a new
Oh,
thing you guys
yeah.
are doing called the Pastor's Pledge. So,
Yeah, that'd be
Colin,
great.
if you can bring up that video, and don't worry about the wide view. It may be out of battery.
Hey, Pastor, my name's Justin Reeder. I'm the founder and president of Love Life Ministries, and I'm sitting here with my friend, Pastor Rob Pacienza, who's the head pastor at Coral Ridge Presbyterian Church. Also used to be my youth pastor
Absolutely.
growing up. Pastor Rob has also been a partnering pastor with Love Life for the last 3 years. He has some very exciting things he wants to share with you, but first I want to tell you about Pastor Pledge. What is Pastor Pledge? There's really two main focuses to Pastor Pledge. The first part is we're appealing to President Trump to cut the funding of Planned Parenthood, which is nearly $700 million annually. That's doing nothing to help families. In fact, it's destroying families. It's destroying children in the womb. It's time for us to cut our taxpayer dollars from Planned Parenthood. So that's the first part of the Pastor Pledge. But the second part is very important as well. And this is where pastors are making a commitment, making a pledge that their church and their people will be the place for hurting families to run to. There's no need for people to run to abortion clinics. They can run to the church. The church is the solution for the abortion and the orphan crisis. So, Pastor, you're making a commitment to be a safe place for those families to run to instead of running to the abortion clinics. That's what the Pastor Pledge is about. Now listen, appealing to our leaders, appealing to a king, appealing to a president is nothing new. In fact, it's biblical. You look at Moses' life. What did he do? He appealed to Pharaoh and he said, "Let my people go." We see Esther, she appeals to the king. When innocent humans were scheduled to die, she went and she appealed to the king, put her life at risk, and saved those people. That's what we're doing. There are innocent humans that are scheduled to die. People are dying all across the nation through Planned Parenthood, and it's time for us to appeal to the king. You see this with Ezra, you see it with Nehemiah, you see this with Paul. Paul appealed to Caesar. That is what we're doing. We're calling upon the President of the United States, while at the same time calling upon the church to take her rightful place, to change the culture from death in America to a culture of love and life.
Since 2019, we as a church, Coral Ridge Presbyterian, have partnered with Justin and Love Life. And what's been amazing is to see the church be the church. We can talk a lot about abortion. We can talk about the evil of abortion, but it's one thing to talk about it and it's another thing to do it. Love Life has been a catalyst at our church and 70 other churches in South Florida and hundreds of churches all across North America, a catalyst to seeing people get out of the pews, out of their seats, and actually be a voice for the voiceless. Prayer works. And through the peaceful protests and prayer rallies and prayer walks that we have conducted as a church, along with the 70 other churches here in South Florida, just a few months ago, we saw an abortion clinic close. It is a reminder of the power of prayer, but a reminder of the power of praying people. Now, I've had the opportunity over the last few years to get to know President Trump. Most recently, I was with him amongst several other faith leaders at his inauguration. We attended a private prayer service together. And I know this, that the president is open to hearing from the faith community. He is a busy man, but he is a man of action. And so here's the challenge for you, Pastor. We want pastors all across North America to get this pledge signed and to his desk in the Oval Office by June 24th. So you're going to be receiving a link, you're going to be receiving an opportunity to sign your name to say, yes, I am willing to lead with courage and sign this pledge and get this pledge to defund Planned Parenthood on the desk of President Trump by June 24th. So sign it today and be a part of this movement across North America.
Pastors, what a great opportunity that we have before us. There's over 1,000 churches right now in the Love Life Network. I'm asking all 1,000 pastors to sign this pledge, but also share this with your friends. We believe that thousands of pastors are going to sign this pledge. We have an incredible opportunity before us where we can go and we can appeal to President Trump to cut the funding, and maybe even more importantly, an opportunity to unite churches across denominational lines to commit and stand to be the place where hurting families can run to. Now, if you don't have an action plan already in place for your church, we want to help you put an action plan in place. It's called House of Refuge Church. It's an easy turnkey model that you can use in your church. Pastor Rob and Coral Ridge have that here. We would be honored to help you establish that action plan in your church. All we need you to do is sign the pledge and we will follow up with you. Time to sign the pledge, Pastor. God bless you.
So I just noticed that Justin is the founder. Like, how old is he?
40.
Okay, he looks really young.
Yeah.
Which, 40 is young.
Yeah. There you go. It's halfway
Yeah.
through life.
I'm less than halfway, man. My family's got longevity.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, that's been one of my most encouraging things, is like the amount of stuff that my older family members have lived through and are still alive. I'm just like, dude, I've got a long time.
So you guys go through stuff, but you're a hardy
Yeah.
stock.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, is there anything that you want to say about that
yeah,
wasn't
absolutely.
said in the video?
So, I mean, part of the reason that I called you up is like, man, can you help me get the word out?
Yeah.
You know, I'm reaching out to all the pastors that I know, and I need others to reach out to the pastors that they know. Really, two things that we're asking is get pastors to sign the pledge, and if you're like us and you're not pastors, what can I do regarding this? It's like, hey, you know what? Could you, donate towards the cause so we can get this out to more pastors? Can you, become a financial partner with us so that we're able to get this out to as many pastors as possible? I mean, we've been speaking for a while, but we've only really scratched the surface of all the things that we're doing as a ministry, and it's the return on investment is massive.
Yeah.
So regarding kingdom
Yeah.
building, we're about building the kingdom of God. So we believe that this is a great opportunity, as Justin said, to get the church involved in this issue. When we're talking about how the need is for the church and what a great opportunity that the Lord has given us with an administration that's actually friendly to the idea of defunding Planned Parenthood. And yeah, so it's like, you know what, Lord, we believe that this was from the Lord, and said, okay, let's run with it. Let's try to get all of our pastors to sign it and put the word out to as many people as possible. So yeah, those would be the two asks: is get in front of your pastor, and if you believe in the cause, join our financial partnership team in your area, and maybe we could put the link to how to donate as well. And we have the video that has the pastor pledge on there, because really this is not a petition.
Yeah.
It's not another petition that's just going out there and saying, hey, we want you to do this. It's like, you know what? We have an opportunity with the president to right a wrong that's been in our nation's fabric for over 50 years, federally funding the intentional murder of innocent lives.
Yeah.
That's something we're talking about, repenting as a nation from this horrible sin. And the Bible says, God says, that innocent blood being shed, what is the word that he uses? Is that it essentially it destroys or it corrupts the land that it's on.
Yeah.
So the shedding of innocent blood is corrupting the land that we're on, and we this is something that we need to repent of as a nation. So we have a president that's willing to, put his foot forward with his administration to try to get this done. He's interested in it. I know he really backpedaled on his stance with life, but I'll get into that in a minute. But then the next part is the most important part. This is what we've been talking about this whole time, is getting the church to step up.
Yeah.
Again, the issue is not the darkness, it's the absence of light. And we're talking about bringing light, bringing life into this, into this horrible situation, and the church is the answer. So regarding what I said about Trump, it's funny because a lot of people said that he lost his election in, was it 2020? Because he was so strong on life. That, and they cheated.
Yeah.
You can edit that out if you need to, but there's a lot of opinions regarding that too. But yeah, by and large, yeah, his strong stance on life, they say, is like, yeah, too strong, Trump, on it. So he pulled back from it.
Backpedal a little bit.
Backpedaled, yeah, for sure. So again, we don't vote on our Messiah, by the way. We vote
Right.
on,
Yep. 100%.
right. Anyway, so he is willing to do stuff. He's willing to do something, and this kind of brings us to currently where we're at this week. So what I reached out to you a week or two ago, or a couple weeks ago at least, and we've been doing this pastor pledge for about a little over a month. And just this week, have you heard of that, what's it called, the Big Beautiful Bill or something like that?
Yeah.
Within that bill is language in federally defunding Planned Parenthood.
Oh, really?
Yes.
See, that's what they don't tell you.
So,
Oh. Hit pause on the recording. I guess I didn't plug this camera in, so just hit the record button. All right, we're back. We had a camera issue. I thought I had plugged it in, but I hadn't, so it ran out of battery. So that's super awesome.
I didn't think it was a bad thing because it was a camera that was on me.
You make this look good.
You make this look good. What's that from? Men in Black.
Yeah.
I make this look good.
Make this
right,
look
when he puts his
good.
glasses on. So I'll back up. So, like, going to current times, like this week when we set up this interview, it was a couple weeks ago or whatever, and we've been doing this pastor pledge for about a month or so, getting signatures and put the word out and stuff like that. And it was like, hey man, we feel like the Lord is, now's the time to act. This is a great administration to try to put this forward, and it's a great opportunity to get the church involved, right? So it's a win-win. So this week we just found out that the language within this bill, it was kind of, hey, should we remove this language regarding defunding Planned Parenthood because it's in this bill, and they voted to keep it in.
Okay.
So I mean, the bill isn't passed, but at least like the language has not been removed.
Yeah.
So they're going to continue to. They all have the different committees, and I'm not going to pretend to know all the different
Yeah. It's
hoops
crazy.
it's got to go through, but it's at least past the first one.
Yeah. Well, that's
And
good.
you know, so yeah, it's super encouraging. And for those who don't know, and I'm just, I think in the video it talked a little bit about it, but you and I, whether we like it or not, and everybody listening to this, we federally fund Planned Parenthood to the tune of $700 million a year.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Is that our tax dollars are being used to end innocent lives, so all we're talking about is, and I want to see an end to abortion, right?
Yeah.
But I believe that's going to happen in steps. So what we're asking for is just to remove the funding.
Yeah.
$700 million a year. They don't need government money.
Yeah.
They're a nonprofit. They can get money elsewhere.
Right.
But the $700 million a year is 1/3 of Planned Parenthood's budget, annual budget. It's 1/3 of their budget. So what we see is like, this is great opportunity to see Planned Parenthood go away.
Yeah.
Right? On a massive scale. And Pastor Rob Pacienza was sharing that, they saw an abortion center close in South Florida, which is true. And it wasn't a Planned Parenthood, and it wasn't because of defunding. It was truly just because the church was out there praying. Again,
Yeah.
we weren't picketing or rioting or anything like that. That place just flat out closed. And you know what happened? Our ministry bought that building. I think now we're leasing it, but we're in that same building.
Awesome.
And we are running our ministry out of that same building.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's the power of prayer right there.
Yeah.
That's the power of the church. So Trump froze, going back to Planned Parenthood, Trump froze about $20 million of funding to Planned Parenthood earlier,
Okay.
like a month or two ago, because they were in violation of some DEI executive order that he signed or whatever that
Mm-hmm.
we're listening to. So he's like, all right, well, freeze your funding. That's my understanding of it. And we've seen Planned Parenthoods close because of that.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, man, we got to close our doors. I just read an article just recently, I think it's this month, that 2 Planned Parenthoods are closing in South Utah because of it. Like, the article cited that.
Yeah.
And it's like, just, $20 million to you and I, it's like, hey, cool. But, I mean, to a massive organization, they're already they have to close their doors.
Mm-hmm.
And there's reasons behind that. There's a lot of what people don't know is that Planned Parenthood is on the ropes. They're very well funded, but they're also being sued left and right for medical malpractice. They're a terrible organization. They truly do not care about the health of the women that they say they're caring for. They don't, man. They're making a buck off of what? Murdering innocent lives. Like, Shon, not all of them are doing abortions, and they're doing a lot of other things. No. In 2021 and 2022, 97% of their revenue came from doing abortions.
Yeah.
Through the abortion pill, through surgical abortions. 97%. They are all about ending the lives of innocent children. And another thing that I found out is the abortion pill that they use is not as safe as they say it is.
Yeah.
A new study came out that said 10% of the people that are taking the abortion pill, it's always going to end up in a life dying, right? But even the women that take it are experiencing severe issues,
Yeah.
hemorrhaging, sepsis, like ER visits. There was a poll that, out of the 860,000 people that took the abortion pill through this recent time frame, I think it was 2017 to 2023, about 94,000 people went through, like, had to end up going to the ER, or they're bleeding out, or they could have died, or they almost died. Some did.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And they're not telling you any of this.
No, of course
They're
not.
saying, "Oh, it's fine, it's safe and effective." And to add insult to injury, is that the Biden administration removed more safety protocols regarding the abortion pill. So not only is it unsafe, and they're making all their money off of it, but they're also removing more safeguards. Like,
It's crazy.
you no longer need a positive proof of pregnancy to take the abortion pill.
Yeah.
You don't need an ultrasound. You don't need a physician. You don't need a doctor saying, okay, yeah, it's safe to take it. So that means that anyone could just say, you know what, I think I'm pregnant. I took this, pregnancy test from Walgreens. So I
Yep.
guess I'm pregnant. So I'm going to take this pill. What if they're not pregnant? What is it going to do to her body then?
Yeah.
What if she has an ectopic pregnancy and it doesn't end the life of the child? Ectopic pregnancy is where, you have the embryo, you have conception happens in the fallopian tube. Like,
Right.
it's not in the uterus where it's supposed to be.
Right.
So the baby's going to start to grow. The pregnancy is not going to be successful. The baby
Yeah.
will die, no matter what. But now she thinks, oh, I'm good. And then all of a sudden, boom, she's getting, bleeding out, could probably die. Why? Because she self-prescribed herself this abortion pill.
Yeah.
There's no oversight. She did everything legal, right? It's all legal. Yeah, you go ahead and do
Yep.
it. Take the pill, no problem. This is women's health care? No. Defund Planned Parenthood. It's evil, and it doesn't care about the people that they're serving. They're just making a buck. We do nothing but good for our nation by defunding them.
Yeah.
We're repenting as a nation of that evil. We're getting our dollars out of it, and let it go. Let it go extinct.
Yeah.
Let the church stand up and take its rightful place to be that place of refuge for these families and these people that are maybe being coerced to have an abortion, or they don't know what to do. The
Yeah.
church is the answer, right? And just in case there's some people in the comments that are like, well, abortion, what, all that stuff, Planned Parenthood, where are these people supposed to go?
Mm-hmm.
How are they supposed to find out they're pregnant? Where are they supposed to go to get, free or cheap medical, help for these moms and stuff like that? Thought you cared about the moms, Sean. Well, Planned Parenthood doesn't, regarding actual medical care
Mm-hmm.
for moms and, a thorough, all the stuff that a pregnant woman might need, or someone that is suffering from a miscarriage or something like that. Planned Parenthood hardly does any of that at all. And there are free and low cost medical clinics that outnumber Planned Parenthood 15 to 1.
Yeah.
So there's 15 other locations to the one Planned Parenthood location. Like,
That
they're
will actually care
that
about
will
you.
actually care about you and help you. And they receive, they take Medicaid, and they have way more to offer than Planned Parenthood does.
Yeah.
I think Planned Parenthood has like 500 or 600 locations, 400 locations. I get it mixed up. I think it's 400. It's like, get rid of all of them. Get rid of
Yeah.
all the abortion centers. There's plenty other places that are actually going to help. So, just wanted to share that.
And I hope people hear it, man. Like, the hardest part about this whole thing is, like, yeah, there are going to be people who fight back against this, who are like, you guys don't care about women, you don't care about our reproductive rights and our health, and we do. Like, Planned Parenthood doesn't. You know, like, it's not that we don't care about you, it's we want you to. I've now been through the medical system. It sucks. Like, it's the ones that care about you are stuck in a system that doesn't allow them to do what they should be doing. You know, it's now I'm stuck looking for a new cardiologist, and you know, so far what I found is I either have Burbank or I have Arizona. You know, and I've heard that maybe San Diego. You know, it's like.
Wow.
I mean, I'm being very specific, you know. I want more of a
Right.
holistic, like someone who's going to actually check on everything and actually has studied nutrition and isn't just like, here's a pill. You know, it's like I want to be off as many pills as possible by the end of the year, or
Those
at least by
doctors
the end of
are-
next year. But
Those doctors are few and far between.
yeah, they are, man. It's just like,
Yeah, man.
I mean, they, just as another quick anecdote, they doubled my Lipitor after this last hospital stint. And when I was talking to my cardiologist, she wasn't involved. Like, this was the cardiologist at the hospital, not her. But I was talking to my current cardiologist, and the way she was talking, I got the feeling that they hadn't even checked my cholesterol when they doubled it. So they just kind of doubled it arbitrarily. And I later found out that they did. I finally got my blood results, and they did check it, but it was barely elevated. Like, it wasn't elevated enough to double my cholesterol meds. But the problem was, like, my second day home
That
was
sounds
when
scientific.
I took that.
That sounds calculated.
Sounds like
Jeez.
it, right? Because I already had plenty of the half dosage at home. So I went home on a Wednesday, and I take my cholesterol meds in the morning. So I didn't take it that night. I took it the next morning, and that next night I did not sleep a wink. I didn't fall asleep until like 6 o'clock in the morning and got like 4 hours of sleep. And I was like, wait a second, what is this? And so I looked it up, and 3 of the medications that I'm currently on, one of the possible side effects is insomnia. And Lipitor was one of them, and they had just doubled that. I was like, what are you guys doing to me? Like, I'm supposed to be healing, and I can't sleep. Like,
You're
so I
killing
just,
me.
I did it myself. I figured I'll humor them by not going off the Lipitor, but I'm going back to the original dosage that I had, and I was going to see my cardiologist the following Monday anyway, so I was like, I'll be fine until then. So I talked to her, and that's when, at first I thought they hadn't even checked my cholesterol, and then found out that they had, but it definitely was not elevated enough to. Plus, I had just been in the hospital for 5 days. Of course it's elevated. Like, I'm not getting any exercise. You guys are feeding me garbage food. Like, of course it's elevated. What's wrong with you people? So she said, let's get you another, let's check your lipids, your cholesterol, because there's other things that we can do. She was okay with what I had done. She was like, there's other things we can do if it's still a concern. And so I got that result back, and I've heard more than once that actually your total cholesterol, which is the number that doctors always look at, is actually BS. Like, that there's no need to look at that number. It's just you're good or you're bad. But my total cholesterol was too low at that point. And my good cholesterol, or my bad cholesterol, was basically right where they wanted it to be. So I was like, so at that point, like, I was kind of cautiously eating eggs for breakfast and stuff like that. Now I'm just eating them with impunity. I'm just like, dude, whatever, dude. Like,
Get back to it.
my cholesterol is so low that it's not even gonna affect me, you know. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
more
wild,
and-
man. They're not in the business of healing. They just want to medicate.
yeah, because that's how they make money. So
Yeah, man.
so
It's-
yeah. Anyway, long story short, as to why I'm looking for another cardiologist, that's what I'm looking for, is someone who's interested in healing me and helping me.
For
with
anybody
nutrition and
listening
stuff, so.
that wants to heal my friend Cameron,
Yeah, exactly.
please,
I'll take it.
yeah, reach out. We'll put you on the podcast too.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that would be my dream, actually, is start having some of them on the podcast. Well, we've been at it for a while, so I want to kind of wrap it up. But
Yeah.
I do want to say again, open invitation to anybody in any of these spaces that wants to come on the podcast and talk about your ministry, what you're doing. Let's not like have you come on and just like gripe and talk about all the problems, but like, what are you, if you have an organization, like, what are you
Right.
doing to solve the problem?
Like
So we
that.
can get the word out there. And I'll make this offer to you too. It's the same offer I made to Corey over at Destiny Rescue, and I'll still do it with him. I was planning on doing it with him after I got back from Europe, but if you guys just need a body like to go to churches and set up a table or whatever, I don't know how much I can like present it. You'll have to like train me on that, but as far as like I can man a table and give out information
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So
That's
like
great.
if you have churches that are interested and just need some representation, I've got nothing to do right now. So it's like
Can do.
that's- Yeah.
Sounds good.
So
Thank you.
Yeah, feel free to use me. Just shoot me a text and
We will use you.
yeah, absolutely.
Thank
So,
you.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, thank you for coming on. Thank you for reaching out, man. I'm super stoked to have you back, and
I'm blessed to be back, man.
Yeah.
It's been nice. So
super glad to have this going on again. I was cautiously optimistic, but now I'm kind of excited. You know,
Cool.
yeah,
praise God.
yeah, for sure. So
I'll call up some people that I know.
yeah, sounds good, man. Like anybody that wants to come on, I'll you know, like I say, as long as they're not crazy or you know, don't come on
Oh,
and
yeah,
just
I'll
like
vet them.
tell all about the problems. But I don't think you would send me anyone like that, so I'm not too worried about it.
Here's Hank. I met him in front of the grocery
Right,
store.
exactly.
He was raving about something.
Yeah.
Thought maybe.
He's great. Okay. Might be good for the entertainment value, but I don't know if
Hey,
it'd be
you
good
know.
for the.
You have episodes like that, episodes of us playing
Yeah.
Nintendo, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Throw some different stuff in
Got to
there.
get our streaming going there. So,
There you go. Give them what they want,
absolutely. Yeah, maybe we can get the kids involved that way.
right?
Hey, watch us play Nintendo while we talk about abortion.
That's how you get some viewership right there.
Yeah, I
you
think
go.
so. All right, well, we're going to end it there, folks. So thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next time. Again, open invitation. Oh, pastorspledge.org to give to that, or
PastorPledge.com.
pastorpledge.com.
And I think
then-
there's a link in there to donate as well. So
And I'll put the link in the description
Yeah,
too.
pastorpledge.com.
And then the main organization website
that's
is
lovelife.org. But you know what? If somebody did want to donate, they could do it on the Pastor Pledge
Okay.
website. Yep.
Okay, so we'll put both of those up there and get that going. Is there anything else I'm forgetting? I don't think so. Hope you all have a blessed day. See you guys next time.